Monday. This is Aaron Smith. I am undefeated. Season 2, episode 4. I'm just going to get right into it. I have my daughter here, so you'll hear her in the background. It's been a week. I would be real, 2026 starting off has been very rough. Like this first month and a half, month and a couple weeks, a lot going on at once. And just doing the best I can. Trust God with it. Do things. Make sure that my family and myself are good. My wife and my daughters are good. But it's just too much freaking going on. So much craziness, so much madness. And you can get lost in it all. And the best thing to do is to stay prayed up. And, to just not to get too stumbly in it. And, you do fall. We do that. We're not robots. We're human. And we do mess up, we do say bad things, we do horrible things, and I know I am remorseful, and I say some stuff that I didn't mean, to some people, and I really apologize to them about that. But on the other hand, there are some folks that I'm going to have to pray for because they are continuously doing their best to antagonize and get under the skin of me. Now, I believe, for the most part, that I have the patience and the tolerance enough to deal with about a lot of stuff. And I also can admit that there are some times where I could have did better. And I'm man enough to admit that. However, as I said in the previous live, this weekend I was sick. Friday, Thursday night into Friday. I went to the hospital on Friday 13th. It was like one of the worst experiences in the hospitals I've ever had. It was overcrowded. It was a madhouse. There were beds everywhere. There were beds on the side. They sat me on a chair. They stuck my IV up on the wall. It was just crazy shit. And I just had to leave because I wasn't waiting for no discharge papers because they told me nothing was wrong with me. Oh, drink this juice. You'll feel fine. You okay? All right, you can go. And I was spitting up bile and stuff and freaking first it was water, it was late Thursday night, spitting up, just couldn't take anything down. It wasn't food, it was just liquid. I couldn't stay keep any water down, no Gatorade down, nothing. So that's why I went to the hospital. Now, like I said, I'm in East New York, Brooklyn. The closest hospital to us is Brookdale Hospital. Now, for those that you're not familiar with Brookdale, it's already one of the worst hospitals in the city, arguably. And I've been to some hoot nannies in my life, but I'm just glad that most of the staff, they did help the best way they could. The doctors was okay. The nurse was alright, so I'm feeling better now. The best thing that we do is because we do believe that it was the water in here and they were doing something in the water in here. I got some letters saying that they were gonna come and check the plumbing or the water on Saturday, which was Valentine's Day. And not like me and my wife really celebrate that anyway, but they were supposed to come from the hours of 9 to 2 And they came after the fact. They came literally at like 1 minute after. And they do this a lot. They come when they feel like it, call sometimes, and most of the time they don't, and they just show up. And, my daughter, who is 3 years old, who is special needs, who can be a handful, and she wakes up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes she wakes up in the middle of the day, like middle of the morning, maybe midnight. Sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Takes her time to sleep, and now she's up now, and I know she ain't gonna be up, and she's not gonna go to sleep until probably whenever. So that's what happened Friday. She literally went to sleep about minutes before they came. And these people don't give a damn about that. They just want to come here and do their job and leave. They have no respect for anyone. They have no respect for me because I don't put up with their nonsense. I have told them many times that we're not going to do this. They don't like coming here fixing anything because they think they're just going to skate through it and they're just going to do what they want to do and how they want to do it. Where there was one time that I just said, screw it, and just do what they had to do. Like, I think it was like some paint work or no, it was like some patch job. It is pretty much a patch job here. They don't want to, like, fully correct anything. They just want to do the bare minimum here. And I'm just about sick of it. And my wife and myself and our daughters, we're just looking to just move on. We've been here over a year, and enough is enough. So, like, all that was going on, all that was happening. And, like, I didn't tell them I was sick. I didn't have to. But it was more of Diana, my oldest, the 3-year-old, and, granted, they could have still came in, and I was considering letting them come in, but I even asked them if they were to come at another time, and they put their hands up, and with the song and dance, and they just keep it real. They just didn't want to be here. They didn't want to come. That's why they came after the fact. That's why they just left, and I'm sick of them. It's always this one gentleman, always comes here with an attitude. I know he don't like me. I don't like him either. And he always comes out of his mouth very disrespectful, like underneath. Like, he doesn't curse or anything like that, but very slick, sarcastic. I'm known to that. I've done that sometimes too, but I do my best not to. But even then, like, people expect a certain attitude or a certain respect, and most people don't do that. And if you respect me, I respect you. You don't like me, then whatever. I'm not I'm trying my best to not like you either, but I'm more like on my whatever now. Like, God bless you, God keep you, but I'm not gonna let you come in here and be all disrespectful in my house. Period. This may be an apartment, this may be public housing, but it is still my house. I still pay rent here. I got kids here, and even if they want to come here and I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but the problem is that they do this all the time. Sneaky, underhanded, shifty, and I've been all that, and I know how it is to be on both sides of that. And it was no reason for that. Even if you won't come, he came here with somebody else, I guess a contractor or something like that. But you know, and they gonna have to come anyway. They gonna have to come back anyway. I done put it in with Department of Health, and you know, we just boil the water here, and like I said, I'm really the only one that really drinks the water. Like, I make coffee with it. The hot water is not necessarily a problem. Sometimes the water will be brown when you run it in the tub. Sometimes, you know, you have to run it when it's for the cold water to drink, and it still tastes kind of funny. I'm pretty sure that these pipes are old in here, rusty in here, and or whatever have that. But and I told them in the email, the manager and whoever, I said, listen, today you gonna come in here, you gonna come correct, or just don't come, and you gonna have to come anyway. So, agree to disagree and just do what you gotta do and keep it pushing. Like, the problem is that, like I said in a previous video, they got a program in here. They think everybody's on drugs here, everybody high, everybody crazy. Not everybody's like that. Even if they are, you're not supposed to talk to somebody like that. You're not supposed to treat nobody like that. You do your best not to. If it happens, it happens. But if at the end of the day, if you want to do that, then you know what time it is with that, and you know how people are going to react like that. But I'm not that type of person. And that's their problem, their attitudes. These people don't like working here. They don't like doing nothing here. Like I said before, and all they do is continuously, underhandedly do their best to antagonize me within the confines of not overstepping the boundary, but skimming the line when it comes to that. And the funniest thing was, I got mad because he wouldn't ask me. Like, they wouldn't ask me, but I asked the guy. I said, is there any way you can come back? You can come back in an hour or so. And that's when, like I said, he threw his hands up and, I'm like, all right. I asked him twice. I asked him again, is there any way you can come back? Maybe an hour or two, maybe tomorrow, whatever. Any other day, No answer, just walked away. I said, and then I got mad, and, y'all could call me wrong or not, but I told him that he was full of shit. And, let's walk away and, call the police. Really? Call the police? For what? Ain't nobody threatening you. I had my daughter in my hand because she was sleeping. I said, if anything, you're harassing me with my child. And I asked you nicely if you could come back, and you refused to answer my question. That's why you walked away. Amen. And the bottom line is, the police wouldn't have done anything. Excuse me. They would have said it's a civil matter, it's a court matter. They wouldn't even say that. They would have just basically said, he asked, could you come back? And they would have asked, could they come in for a little bit? And I'd have told them yes. They could have either came in and did what they had to do, or they could have came back. Either way, there's no criminality here. There's no offenses here. You just hurt you and your feelings because you didn't get what you want, and I told you about yourself. I grow tired of telling people about themselves. I am beyond aggravated and frustrated with these people in here, and the disrespect in here. Not to mention that we got neighbors who love to play freaking dilly-dally on the ceilings and the walls in here. I don't know if they got dogs, kids, both, whatever. It's almost every freaking day. That's upstairs. I think I told you guys about that. Forgive me if I repeat myself. Sometimes I don't remember what I said. But then we got this lovely individual next door with his dogs and walking at. He treads lightly sometimes, but sometimes, so there'd be some days he'd be sitting there talking to himself through the wall. And throughout all of this, you expect my wife and myself to sit here and be okay with all of this, which for the most part we do our best to do so. But when you have a 3-year-old with special needs, who's sensitive to noise, who's sensitive to certain things, then you have a 7-month-old who wondering what's this, what's that, and why this is banging, all this and that. And you have crazy neighbors on top of that. And you expect us to be okay with all this. And then have the audacity, oh, call animal control, oh, call the police. They don't want to do shit here. Nothing. But let that rent be late. They don't care about that anyway, because they just looking for a reason to kick people out of here. You have to trust God, man. You have to pray. You have to have it, especially in this place. And it's just bad enough. It's bad enough where, like, you know, you got that. Then I gotta deal with my daughter, some school. It's not really a school, it's a center. She's there for a couple hours a day, all the way in Queens. Take the bus to Queens for a couple hours, then tumble her back. Then with this the school bus, they keep putting her on this damn bus with this matron and this driver that I don't like, that my wife don't like. Complain about them several times, and they don't do nothing about them but except for sometimes switch the bus out. He used to say something to me. He used to get real snippy with me, and I know now he want to look at the side of the window, look on the other side, and this matron wants to sometimes want to push my daughter off the bus, and I looked at her like she was stupid. Stop playing with people, especially with my children, as my child. My children, both of them, but with Diana when you get off that bus. And I done told her that several times. And I know a lot of parents deal with this in New York, especially with this Total Transportation Corp bus company. And so I got that. So there's a lot going on, and sometimes you gotta vent. Sometimes you gotta get that off your chest. I vent to God mostly, and I think that's the only person I really need to. But I figured I let all y'all know, the audience know, that that's pretty much what I've been dealing with, and I am doing my best to be transparent with you guys in the audience to let you know that's is going on. And there are going to be some days, maybe weeks, that I might not be able to do an episode. There might not be time to ever do an episode at this point, jokingly, but it's very possible because there's just too much going on now. So. What you doing? What's that? Hi. I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. What are you watching? So yeah. Let's play nicely. I'll be done soon. Okay, Diana? So. Whew. Yeah, so I just figure I'd let you guys know that. And I didn't even get into, like, I know the Super Bowl was last week. I know there's a lot going on here in the city with this new mayor and, in fact, let's just get into that. Let's talk about that a little bit. All right, so the Super Bowl was last week, and the biggest thing wasn't the game. It was the halftime show with Bad Bunny. Now, I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny. I don't follow his music. I don't listen to his music. I can care less for his music, but he's an artist and he has every right to, do that. I think that it's for a particular audience, and I'm not a part of that audience. It's not talking about Spanish speaking people. Shout out to my Spanish folk, but it ain't for me. But I didn't see the game. I didn't really watch the game. I was really busy that day too. My wife was working. I had to watch the kids, so it really wasn't. I dabbled and I watched it here or there. The game was on, but I really wasn't like tuned in. I usually watch the commercials anyway. I enjoy watching those. I didn't get a chance to watch those. I'll check them out on the tube later. But going back to Bad Bunny, I mean, I follow wrestling. I think he did that one time out there in WWE. That was pretty cool. But the biggest problem was for people who were saying that, he's doing demonic undertones, satanic undertones, which I did believe that was a possibility, and most Super Bowl halftime shows do have that, whether you believe in that or not. And the thing was that they turned it around and saying that he was going to say some wild stuff, which he didn't. He flipped the script on them. He even shocked and surprised me at one point when I saw bits and pieces of it. Didn't really see all of it, but he and then the Republicans were they did their concert themselves, and their counter was Kid Rock, of all people. Now, back in high school, I used to listen to Kid Rock, and I thought he was kind of cool. Now that I'm 42 years old, I realize he wasn't that type of person. He was always, not a good person. And, Turning Point USA, they did this. And they had all that stuff, and, it wasn't very good. And no one really saw it. They said that maybe 5-6 million people saw it. Contrast to when Bad Bunny had over 132 million people watch his halftime show. And the Puppy Bowl got about 12 million, they said. So the dogs outbeat the Republican Christians. Can't play with that. It's not a toy.
No.
Here, have them. Diana, here, take your juice.
No. Diana, take your juice. Go, listen. Go.
So.
Diana, I'm trying to have a drink. Come on.
Yeah. Might have to wrap this up soon.
Yeah, please. Listen.
You want this? No? So. But it just was a And I don't think it was a good idea to counter that with Kid Rock. Maybe they couldn't find anybody better to do that. I've always said that there's one man that everybody would enjoy on the halftime show, and he said he wasn't going to ever do it. But if they got Weird Al Yankovic to do the halftime show, I think everybody would enjoy it. But even then, the Republicans will find some way to complain about, oh, it's accordion, or some stupid stuff like that. But we have to do better, man. Like, if we don't like something, just turn it off. If you don't like be bothered with something, just turn it off. And you ain't gotta argue and fight with everybody all the time. And I'm doing my best not to do that. And it's extremely hard for me. It's very hard for me, and I'm doing my best to. But when it comes to things like that, like if I don't like something, if I'm not going to argue about that. I'm gonna turn that crap off. If I don't want to hear nothing, I'm turn that crap off. If I don't want to talk to you, I'm gonna hang up the phone. I'm not gonna pick up the phone. Isn't that what we supposed to do? If we don't like something, and want to be bothered with something, like, come on. This used to be a country where if we didn't agree on something, okay, you do your thing, I do my thing, all right, no problem. Now it's like, oh, you don't like my thing, then forget you. And this is on both sides. Like here in New York with this new mayor, Zohran Mamdani. If you don't like him, you don't like anything you're doing, you're considered a racist, or you're considered a person that doesn't like him. And then and how can you not like him? He's the best thing since sliced bread, and this, that, and third, and blah, blah, this, and blah, blah, that. I mean, this man has been in here only about a month, a little over a month. And he has fumbled. So far, he hasn't done a good job. But he just got here. We just had a crazy snowstorm over a month ago. He fumbled that terribly. This man's that terribly. Some areas didn't get plowed. Some places didn't get plowed good. There's still snow here, out here. Like the last week or so, last couple of days have been over 40s, and it's supposed to rain here soon, and then this week, so maybe I should help, but he didn't do very good with that. A lot of people complained about that, especially for the simple fact of the matter is that, he could have made people that could help him, and he didn't very good, and especially with all those homeless people that got that unfortunately passed away out and weren't a place where they could be warm, or at least not in danger of being dying. Like, he pretty much left them out there in the cold. Now, granted, you can't force nobody to go into these shelters. I've been in them. They're dirty, they're dangerous, they're nasty, and they're not very good places. And a lot of homeless people will rather stay out in the street than deal with them. Yeah. But when it's low temperatures and it's snow everywhere and it's bad, nah. If I was out there, if I was a policeman, if I was a first responder, if it was just me and myself, I'm like, listen, I don't care if you curse me out. You getting your ass out of this cold. And that's what he should have did, but he didn't. And they said like 26 people died. That checked up, and he doesn't want to do the homeless encampments. He doesn't want to tear them down. I'm like, all right, but at the end of the day, what if this happens again? What if this goes down again? Then what? The person who run the homeless joint, or that department, she stepped down because she didn't have much of a choice. She had to go. Somebody had to take the fall. It was going to be him. But, we have that problem where we can't agree to disagree. in a country where we are supposed to do that, and we haven't done that. And Washington and those in Washington have polarized that to the fact that we are unable to do so, because the narrative is that it's my way or the highway, and that's the problem. And I'm just going to leave you guys with that. So, until then, I will see you guys soon. I will do my best to make videos continuously to do that. I will continue to do my best to do that. So, just make sure to follow me on IG and keep up with me at The Aaron Smith. You can follow me on YouTube and just type Aaron Smith is Undefeated. The podcast will be right there. I'll be uploading this soon. And you can hit me up on X, formerly known as Twitter, also at The Aaron Smith. And I will see you hopefully soon. Until then, peace.